Hello, everyone.
God.
Welcome back. What a lovely day it is, isn't it? How
Look
are your
outside.
parents?
It's wonderful. It's
We can't
wonderful.
hear you. Don't reply.
Don't shout. You'll wake someone
No,
up.
don't. You will. We're back.
Literally.
We're back to talk about music, which is what we do. Sort of. I'm here with Jamie.
Hello.
This week's a bit of a packed one, isn't it, Jamie? We had all
We've
of our
got a
friends
busy
and family
show.
dropping round virtually, of course. No face to face. So we've got all that you've come to expect, but we've also got a couple of little treats, haven't we, Jamie?
We have. We've got some absolute gems. Obviously, if you listen to this, you will obviously have heard about Taylor Swift dropping a big old album out of nowhere, less than 24 hours notice. So we rang up our famous pop correspondent, Abby. She'll be dropping by, and we're going to be talking about that as our focus album of the week. And also, we have actual pop star.
Friend of the magazine.
Friend of the magazine. Undeniable friend of the magazine. Alfie Templeman.
3 months old. Alfie Templeman.
He is aging quick, but he will be here. And we're going to talk about, I'm going to be honest, probably a load of nonsense, but probably is latest EP as well.
Really, what we do need to flag is that last week Alfie had an EP out, and we said, Alfie, come here, Alfie. Do you want to be on the show? Discuss. We
tried to rustle him, yeah,
and we got a reply too late, saying, yeah, I'd love to, and we said, oh, well, we've asked now, haven't we? So he's going to come on, talk about his EP. Not sure whether he's heard us talking about his EP, but he's going to come on and talk about the EP, and then we'll have a chat about some other nonsense too, just while he's here. Just sort of filling time, really, because the EP's
See what he's up to. See what he's up to. He's a friend of the magazine. Great to have him on board, and we'll just delve into that chat. So Alfie Templeman's coming up at some point in the show once we've cleared all the rubble, which is known as our voices and our chat. That has, garnered some acclaim, and by some acclaim, I mean couple of people.
Yeah, something like that. But
that's
first,
enough. Yes.
Before Alfie comes on, and before Abby comes on, we've got another guest, and that guest is a big leathery sack full of mail, isn't it, Jamie?
The guest is you. It's the Dork Mailbag. We're here, as always. We take any questions or statements, to be honest. We'll just take anything that's sent our way. We wade through every single week, clearing the shit from the shiitake, and we delve into what's coming up. So, Jake, have you got...
Now, I think, realistically here, we're going to have to start with your one, Jamie, the big one. Before we get into anything else.
Yeah, no, we have some big... We had a big message, I think, this week. This is... we're actually from a couple of twins who are originally from Ireland and are now living in America, I believe. Their exact location is unknown. But we had this message through to the Dork Mailbag, and it is from Jedward.
The ones, the only.
The ones, the only, who have not sent a question, but have just sent a message to the mailbag, and the message is, "Your magazine rocks."
There you go. Nothing
Jake,
about the radio. Probably don't even know there is a podcast.
They don't even know
we're
that we're here.
We're going to assume it was for the mailbag, actually.
Exactly,
for the magazine.
100%. Jake, how does it feel? Jedward's of the famous Jedward fame.
I've got a lot of time for Jedward. Because
I do too.
They realised a few weeks ago that everyone remembered them and thinks of them as like this fun novelty act. So they just started fucking DMing people, didn't they? I love it.
They're just gone for it.
They just sat down, they went, all right, we'll just DM a load of random people telling them, hi, how are you? And everyone went mental, same as us, which I just think, fair enough, guys, you've worked it out. You've worked out the secret to success is just giving us a bit of attention.
That's basically it. For any acts out there, if you just give us some attention and give us plaudits, we will support you. That's how it works. We also will support people who don't. And that's just, the music industry. But Jedward, obviously everyone's talked about, let's talk about their seminal version of Under Pressure, Ice Baby. which I would argue is probably one of the defining moments of the past 15 years in British culture.
Past 15 centuries, I'd say.
I was about to say, for anyone listening who doesn't know Jedward, number one, where have you been? Number two, just go onto YouTube right now and just search for Jedward, and you will understand just how incredible they are. Obviously, they were on Eurovision as well. Do you remember that when they did Eurovision?
God, I'd forgotten about that actually, but yeah,
they did that as well.
What a life.
Yeah, and also, kind of just like this message it just arrived unsolicited. You know, they were just like, do you know what, your magazine rocks, and just sent it, and I appreciate that. I think I really appreciate that. I it's nice to see that sort of acclaim, isn't it? You know, who do we get next? Maybe Wagner off of X Factor. Maybe Steve Brookstein. Like? Who knows? Who would you like?
I'd like Susan Boyle. I think that'd mean a lot.
What, to get in touch?
Yeah. Well, that's what we're talking about. People getting in touch.
I realised how ridiculous that was. Yeah. Are you a fan of Subo?
It's not really my kind of thing, but I feel like with her, a message would mean so much more because I imagine she doesn't really know how Twitter works. So for the hurdles to be overcome to send it from someone who's clearly very talented would be just nice. It'd just be good, wouldn't it? Just be a nice, heartwarming gesture.
Who's your favourite X Factor contestant, Jake? Like, obviously,
Sorry,
we talked about Jedward.
That's not been asked by a member of the public, so I'm not legally obliged to answer it.
Well, no. Is it Jedward or is it Wagner?
So I've got a letter here. From...
We will tell at another time.
Mainly because I can't really remember any. But anyway, I've got a letter here from John from High Wycombe.
John from High Wycombe.
Yeah, John said.
Let's hear what you're saying first before I try and claim any fame over that.
Oh, okay.
Hello.
So John has said, he said, "Hi, Dork. Hi, John. How are you? Don't answer. We can't hear you." He said, "Hi, Dork. If you could interview any living musician, who would it be?"
Living.
Yes.
First off, I just want to say, obviously, on the High Wycombe front, John, I actually went to university in High Wycombe. Spent a few years there. Range of stuff going on. I don't want to besmirch High Wycombe, but it's not thriving with fun.
Let's put it this way. I've known Jamie for a few years, and not once has he nipped back there.
No, I've never nipped back there because, I feel like I got the full thing. Great shopping centre, really good students' union. I once saw Bastille play there. Back when I was at uni.
Shit towns have got good student unions, haven't they?
Yeah, well, I
went to Reading, and that had a good students' union because Reading's shit. But High Wycombe is like a commuter town for Reading.
It is. No, it actually is. It's the in between, isn't it?
That's tough.
What else is in High Wycombe? I mean, there was a good place called...
question, Jamie. Who do you want to interview? Come on.
Sorry, let me clear the reminiscence out of my system and put it in the bin. Clear the fog. If I had to interview one musician that is living...
not if you had to. If you could. It's a good thing.
If you could. Okay, so I'm not forced into it. It's not like you're being
forced to. You interview multiple musicians every month. Yeah.
It's my... I do it every month.
Who would you choose to interview?
God, that's a good question. I would say, God, I would go for Paul McCartney.
Oh yeah,
because obviously we've discussed this a lot on this show, but I just feel like Paul McCartney's got stories, hasn't he? And I feel like no one asks him the sort of questions that I want to ask. Like, for example, when they were doing all these big shows in America and all stuff was kicking off and all that jazz, what was he having for dinner? Was he having...
what's his favourite lager?
Yeah.
What does he sit down and drink?
These are the questions we need to ask. Like, what's his favourite TV show? Downton Abbey?
What's his shaving routine? Does he clip it back first with an electric razor? And then go at it with a normal one? Or does he go straight in with the normal one?
Yeah. Also, does he drive a car? Because he talks about driving you can drive my car, but is it more out of practicality because he can't drive?
Written from his perspective to Ringo.
Can you drive my car?
You say,
and baby, I love
you can drive my car, and maybe I'll love you. Yeah, it's a heartfelt one.
Exactly. These are the questions I want answering. Jake, what about you?
Well, I think if you've chosen Paul, I'd have to choose Ringo, wouldn't I? Justice for Ringo.
It was going to be, yeah.
What
would you ask Ringo?
I think, something that fascinates me is how much all celebrities get ripped off constantly for everything. So you see them, you see the picture of them, right, and they're standing there, and they're dressed in what looks like, an H&M basic fit. Probably get that 50 quid all in. And it's like, shoes, £18,000. And you're like, what? I mean, a couple of hundred, I get it. You've got some nice material in there.
You might splash out a bit.
But I'm looking at like a pair of like Gucci shoes is like 500 quid, right? And sometimes it's like $2,000. And I'm like, what are you paying for that Gucci doesn't have? Like, I don't know what Gucci do for that amount of money, but if you're then quadrupling that. So I'd say, Ringo, how much does your outfit cost? And
that's
talk
a good
me
question.
Through why. Like the jacket, right? If his jacket costs loads, does it have a really good inside pocket?
But if it's a good jacket, I can understand. That. It is more the question of like the shoes or the socks, for example.
No, trousers are the one that gets me, because trousers are just the thing you have to wear in between your shoes and your coat, right?
It's a legal requirement. Yeah.
Trousers are the boring bit. They're just like, here are my legs.
Here are my legs. They're floating. They're doing stuff. That's fair questions. And obviously, Ringo would warm to you, bearing in mind you are such a Ringo Starr fan.
Yeah, I think Ringo would get me. We'd get each other. I'd warn him with peace and love not to send me any fan mail. Actually, listeners at home, if you've got a few minutes, if you're bored of us, Jamie sent me a Pizza Hut advert with Ringo Starr in it. It was quite exciting.
It's amazing.
So if you just search Ringo Starr Pizza Hut, it's possibly one of the weirdest things I've seen. To the point where I almost feel like Pizza Hut had kidnapped a member of Ringo Starr's family, and that was the only reason he agreed to do it.
He was like, you have to do this commercial.
I'm not actually sure. So this I'm not going to spoil it for you, but this commercial hinges on the idea. I'm calling it a commercial because it's American. It hinges on the idea that Ringo could get the Beatles back together. But I'm pretty sure at the point that it came out, John Lennon was dead.
I think so. Yeah. 'Cause I think it was the 1980s. So it was actually
quite
impossible.
A horrific advert, really.
Yeah. It's actually impossible.
As if Ringo doesn't know, as if no one's told him.
I'd do it in a second. The fans will dig it. They've waited long enough. I've just got to get the other lads to agree. I think I can convince them. I'll say, lads, the time has come to eat our pizza crust first.
Good idea, Ringo. Cool.
Yeah. Stuffed crust pizza from Pizza Hut with cheese baked into a new, thinner crust. You'll want to eat it crust first. Now with free garlic dipping sauce.
Wrong, lads.
Large is $9.99.
Yeah. He's just been living. And it's like, oh, by the way, don't know if you know.
Yeah.
But,
bad stuff, actually. Maybe don't watch it.
I don't think anyone goes towards Ringo Starr and be like, can you advertise this product now? Like, no one really thinks about that anymore. Which is, shame for Ringo.
How much do you think he'd charge? We could do a whip round. Get him to do one for the podcast.
No. I bet he charges a lot. Because he will value himself as, a lot of money.
But I mean, we got Michael Caine to do the intro that week, didn't we? So there's no reason we can't get Ringo to do a plug for the podcast. Actually, is that Michael? Come here. Can you put out a plea for Ringo to do the podcast?
All right. Master Star. If only you could come on the Dork podcast, Master Star. I will not bury another of your commercials, Master Star. If only you came on and talked about the Beatles with Jake and Jamie. Oh, Master Star. Cheers, Michael.
Lost it towards the end. I mean, Michael sounded a bit weird towards the end there, but he is old, so
he is.
That's why.
Leave him be. Leave him be.
Yeah, that's Michael Caine, spelled Cayn. By the way, before any lawyers get involved.
Yeah. Whoa.
Right, we've got a final question before we can move on.
Yes. What's that? You've got to scrounge through the mailbag, because there's so many.
There are
I'll take this moment as well now to just say that if you do want to send in any questions, anything like that, send it in. Send over to us. Send over to Dork at ReadDork on everything else, or just send it to me and Jake. I'm not going to talk about what our handles are, but we stand out. We're the only ones yabbering, so we like human interaction, because otherwise I just have to stare at the wall. And the wall's great, don't get me wrong, but
it's okay, Jamie. It's fine. I found the message now. You can stop stalling.
The wall is beginning to crinkle.
Right, so just paper over that. Kirsty from Manchester has asked us what our favourite breed of dog is. Jamie?
I think mine is... It's boring, because it's quite a popular breed anyway, but I just do quite like pugs. Pugs have always been...
But they can't breathe. They're all unhealthy.
Yeah, but that's the issue. That's why I feel torn about it, because obviously there's a big issue in terms of look. We're a music podcast. I don't want to delve into it too much. But
you can get there's pugs that they crossbreed with Jack. I think it's Jack Russells, which pretty much sorts out all the issues. They got a bit more snout on them, but they're still quite puggy. You know.
Okay. Well, in that case, I mean, that sounds like it solves the issue, to be honest. I'm not one with the breathing techniques of a pug, but obviously I've heard it's quite tricky.
I'm not suggesting you breed it yourself, Jamie. I'm suggesting you could acquire get one from another source.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be a bit of a weird detour, wouldn't it, if I just started breeding pugs or the crosses. Yeah, it wouldn't go well. But I would say that if that's the case and they are knocking about, I'd probably,
have one of them, yeah?
Drop some money on that. Yeah. What about you, Jake?
Well, I've got a favourite breed, but before we go into it, I've actually got a theory about dogs that I think you'll be quite interested in, Jamie.
Right, okay.
So, my theory...
okay, right. It's all fucking... Yeah, all right, go on then.
So my theory is that every dog has, deep within its subconscious brain, an image of what it should look like. So, like, what a wild dog looks like,
Right.
So, like, like a wild dog, like almost wolf-like, right? So the less it looks like that, the more pissed off it is with the fact that we fucked it around so much. And that's why small dogs are always such bastards.
Right, because they think they should be the big dogs. They put two and two
together. They know they should look like a wolf, and they know we're responsible. And they're like, I'm going to bite the fuck out of your ankles because you did this to me. You played God and you fucked it. And my favourite dog is a Basset Hound.
The Basset Hound? Okay.
Yeah, good dog.
Here he comes.
I looked them up once, and the website, the dog website, said that one of the tips if you own one is not to leave any food on worktops because they are deceptively long. Which implies that they've been trying to hide their length. Like Slinky in Toy Story,
Yeah, it's like... yeah, they just limit up and then they bounce out.
And then that's it. That's the mailbag for the week. On that note.
That's the mailbag. Thank you for sending questions in. We hope we've given you some answers. And if we haven't, you can't sue us. So that's good.
No, you have to sue us for the Michael Caine thing, and we've already covered ourselves on that. So.
Yeah, we're clear. We're gone clear. Should we talk about some news, Jake? Some music news.
Only one big bit of news this week.
There's only one big morsel of news really about. Hefty chunk of news. Let me talk to you not about the Venus Prize, not about the Jupiter Prize. We don't know where they are. It's the Mercury Prize. It's the big old celebration that happens every single year. Celebrating UK music and everything that it brings. It's like a critical coup de grace. It's a critical slice of jabroni served up on a plate for all of us to tuck into. We're going to talk about that and more, but let's start off because this is fucking brilliant. Sports team, they are nominated for the Mercury Prize, so let's have a listen. This is Here It Comes Again.
Down again, I've been riding on the train nearly every morning. Like a badly shuffled deck, like a slowly moving thread, like a burning British neck on an August evening.
Mercury is calling Jake. The Mercury Prize, announcing their shortlist for this year. It's always like, the big kind of like critical, revered moment in the year. And obviously 2020 has been obviously a very weird year, don't get me wrong, there's lots going on, but the Mercury Prize lives on. Powered by Hyundai. We don't make any money out of that.
Other cars are available.
Other cars are definitely available. I prefer probably a Ford because it's reliable. What about you, Jake? What's your favourite car?
I can't drive either. Don't care about cars. Could not care any less about cars if I tried.
But we do care about music. And that's why the Mercury Prize is here. We do care about it's why we're here. The Mercury Prize has announced its 12 shortlisted albums of the past 12 months. Basically celebrating, the best of British music, and it is the moment, isn't it? It's such a revered prize. Obviously, Dave won last year.
I think the Mercury Prize. What I have a couple of things. What I have enjoyed about this year is that Kano and Stormzy being nominated wasn't big news. A few years ago, there was this real complaint that the UK grime and rap and all of that aspect, for want of a better term, because it's such a massive collection of genres, the stuff that they'd play on One Extra wasn't really being recognised at all. And now it's kind of it's no longer, oh God, we better put a grime album in. We better put like a Skepta album in because otherwise people can play it. Now it's just part of it, and I do like that. And I think this year they've done quite well. I mean, obviously, it's hard to be complete. There's always going to be something missing. But I think they've done quite well in getting a decent spread there in a lot of ways. Yeah, but I also think what I find about the Mercury Prize every year is just the absolute outrage from people. Because, right, it's 12 albums, right? So I think if you sat down and you thought about the last year, you'd come up with over 12 albums, big albums, that you think it would be considered a snub for them not to be included, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So if you include 12 of those albums, everyone gets annoyed you didn't include the other 3, and also that you didn't include any wild cards, right? Everyone's like, why don't you include any that no one's heard of? And then if you include the ones that people haven't heard of, everyone gets annoyed that you missed out some of the big ones. I just love it. There's literally no way for them to win at all.
Yeah, there isn't. No, you are completely correct. And like you say, joining, this is it. Every single year, it's up for debate. Like everyone chimes it. Like it is, but it shows the importance of the award. So obviously, alongside Kano and Stormzy, you've got Anna Meredith, Charlie XCX. Obviously, the first album we ever talked about on this show. How I'm Feeling Now. Georgia, Lanterns on the Lake, Laura Marling, Michael Kiwanuka, Moses Boyd, Porridge Radio, and the band we obviously just played, Sports Team. Alongside, obviously Dua Lipa as well. Good little bunch there. Good mixture going on there.
I think what I like about this year's is Sports Team being an obvious example, but I think Sports Team are made out to be more divisive than they are. I think if you just like music, just like you casually, you might not like them, but you're not going to give a shit. But what I like about them being in there is that they're not a serious band by any stretch of the imagination. They're happy to take the piss in the same way. But you know what I mean? It's almost like it's like if this
serious band.
They're not serious about this, are they? Personality rather than anything else.
They're not serious
in the same way that like this podcast, we don't take things too seriously. I do enjoy the Mercury letting in a few more acts that aren't kind of po-faced critics' choices.
I 100% even
to the point of having like Dua Lipa in there. I do like that it's like these albums are great, like, and you Laura Marling's album, that was great, but that is such a traditional, like, critical darling of an album. That is nice to see an award that could go to Laura Marling, but it could go to Sports Team, or it could go to Stormzy, or it could go to Porridge Radio. Like, I just love the fact that, like, if you put them on one festival bill, everyone would look at it and go, "What the fuck is that trying to be?" I just love it. It's great.
Yeah. I think what's quite good as well this year is it definitely feels like the Mercury Prize this year is a lot more, I guess, fun. Like obviously I've been on. So obviously at Dork, I've obviously been for the last few years, and like, there's a lot of pressure in that room. When it's a big thing for a lot of people. And don't get me wrong, the impact is huge. Sales, the opportunities to like do certain shows, the opportunities to do certain things. Like Young Fathers is probably the best example of that when they put out their debut, and like not many people had heard about Young Fathers, and obviously they won the award, and it was something like a catapult into like the mainstream. Like everyone knew who Young Fathers were, So it means a lot to a lot of people, and I think that's actually just quite nice to have. It's not fallen into obscurity. It's not become a joke on itself. It holds such a huge, huge like clout in. And I think
an
music.
important part of that is because a lot of people some people complain when there's a big act nominated, right? They say like, well, they wouldn't benefit from winning. But that's kind of the point of it, is that if they only ever nominated obscure acts, within a few years, the majority of people wouldn't really care about it. I mean, we'd probably still be here looking at it because this is what we do. But like, if you've just got a casual interest in music, why would you care about an award that just nominates 12 obscure artists for the sake of them being obscure? Whereas now, if it's like 3 or 4 acts you never heard of, a couple they're like, oh, I've heard them, I think, on... did their song get played on Radio 1? I don't know. And then a couple that are just like, oh yeah, obviously... I mean, no one's here looking at Charlie XCX. Who's that? I'll have a look at that. I've never heard of that before.
Exactly. That was like Stormzy.
Exactly, yeah. And yeah, I think if they win and there's no narrative behind it, like the year that Skepta won over David Bowie, as they said, I think David Bowie would have wanted Skepta to win if he was here, because even when alive, he wouldn't have benefited from it, let alone... as he was, right? He had passed away earlier on. But the fact of him being nominated was like, look, this album's great. David Bowie deserves to be nominated, but also the narrative here is that if Bowie won, like there's a load of bands here and acts here that deserve it a lot more by virtue of what they're doing, how old they are, how they haven't had success before. So I think they do really strike a balance there. And like I said earlier, I mean, like I would not want to be one of the judges because no matter what they do, someone's going to be screaming about it.
Someone's going to kick off. I was about to say, trying to limit it down to 12 albums from the past 12 months across the whole like musical spectrum. Like here at Dork, we obviously cover a real range, but it reaches far beyond what we do as well.
Well, I think we were looking at this. About half of that list we haven't reviewed. Not necessarily because we didn't like the albums, but because they weren't really within the Dork remit, and so much music comes out that sometimes you don't have time to do it all. And we cover a broad range of stuff. For that to be such a big range of music, I think is great.
I actually think that they've nailed it this year. I think there's a real great mix of established acts, like slightly smaller acts, a real range, and I think they've like that. I can't argue with this. There will always be notable snubs. There'll always be.
I think there's a couple of notable omissions, but as you say, and as we've been saying, what do you remove? I don't think there's anything on that list that I'm like, why? And the ones on that list that I think people would remove are the ones that are the reason the Mercuries exist. Like, a lot of people have been saying, I really didn't expect, like, Porridge Radio to get nominated. And it's like, yeah, that's the point. Of course, that's the point.
Yeah. It's introducing to a new audience, isn't it? Jake, who do you think... I mean, this is very early days. Who do you think might scoop the big prize? What do you think? Obviously, we've talked about sports team. Our love for sports team is well known. I would love
sports team to win, but
I'm going to be honest. Yeah, if sports team won, I think I would. I'd shave my head. And
you said you'd move house if they sold out the Kentish Town Forum, and they did that, and you didn't move house. So
I'm a fraud, as they're known. But sports team would be hilarious if they won. We love sports team. I think it'd be great.
I think they do deserve it as well.
Be great.
I think like as much as we make fun of them, and as much as they are piss takers, I really like the album, and I think they do deserve it. They put the work in as well. But I mean, who have we got? I'm sorry, I've got to look up a list now. I can't keep 12 names in my head at once.
We're looking at what? Anna Meredith, Charlie XCX.
Who do you think will win? And I'll use that time to...
Who do I think? Oh, God, there's some really good albums on here. I think that the Porridge Radio album is really, really good. Really, really good album. I think everyone should check it out. I think that, obviously we've talked about the Charlie album, really good. Sports Team, obviously, good fun. It'd be brilliant if they won. But I think it's for me, I would like to see, there's like 3 different people who could win it. I think Michael Kiwanuka's album is amazing. I think that the Dua Lipa album is just amazing pop, and that would be a brilliant moment if she won it. And Georgia, Seeking Thrills, I think it's a really good album as well. So I think, to be fair, I'd be happy with anyone winning, but those 3 I feel like are amazing albums. I think that they should win it, but out of them too,
I'd agree on that. I think Michael Kiwanuka, I think, is a really good shout. Like, I think he is probably the front runner. But because it's the Mercuries, I also think maybe that means he's not going to win it.
Of course.
I would like to see Kano win. I preferred his previous album to this one, which obviously Skepta won instead of him. But I also think this one is great. I love what he's doing. I love the fact that he's come from that grime background, and I think more than any other of the grime acts, he's stayed within that, but he's really making kind of grown-ups track. He's doing this retrospective thing, and I think it's nice to see a bit of music made that is kind of nostalgically looking back at an upbringing that a lot of people think of in terms of like crime and poverty and that. And he's saying like, look, it was great. We had a great time. And he's looking back on the early history of grime and all that. I just think it's a really nice album to cap off the grime revival that started in like 2014. And now I think you're looking at UK rap and that coming through. It's kind of grime's retreating a bit again. And I think Kano's great, just generally. But I think,
he's brilliant.
I think if I had to put money on it, I think Moses Boyd might win.
Here we go. Yeah,
I don't know why, I just get a vibe from it, and I think like a lot of the times that sort of the Jazzy nominee is a bit of a joke, and I think that the Moses Boyd one isn't. Like I think it's always made into that. Oh, the Token Jazz album. Whereas this one to me feels like it could win. I don't like jazz. The Moses Boyd album is not for me, but it's a massive achievement of an album, and I think it could win. I'd love to see Sports Team win. I'd love to see Dua Lipa win.
Yeah.
Like you say, I don't think there's anyone on there that I'd see win it and think was a terrible shame.
No.
But I think Dua Lipa would be great, just because it's such a out-and-out pop album, and it's such good fun, and it's so great, and it's so good to see an album like that getting held up as a good album without any of that sneering condescension that happens for pop a lot of the time.
100%. That's the thing, isn't it? It's just like, get clear of that. It's great to see it in there. Absolute pop bangers. Probably one of my favourite albums of the year so far. And do you know what? Let's crack open a bit of the bubbly. Let's have a little bit of the bubbly. And should we have a dance to Dua Lipa? Right, should we do it?
You want to slow dance with me, Jamie?
Let's, let's connect.
Will you marry me?
Jake, stop it. It's got to be a yes, doesn't it? Don't tell anyone.
Don't tell anyone. This is the happiest moment of my life.
Oh, you can really feel it as well in the tone of your voice. Jesus, suffering.
So happy.
Mercury Prize.
This is great.
It's going to be. We don't know whether there's going to be a physical show yet. We don't know what's going to happen in terms of that. I've been for the last few years. It's really, really good fun. All we know that the winner is going to be announced on the 24th of September. We don't know if it's going to be. We don't know how it's going to go. The show's brilliant. It's good fun. Obviously, let's just see who wins and, vibe with that. Alfie Templeman is going to be here after this, so clear your diaries.
So brace yourselves.
Brace yourselves. But let's have a party first. This is Dua Lipa, Physical.
When I got you next to me.
Lipa, Physical. It's a song. It's a huge song. It's good fun. We're now not joined by Dua Lipa. We are joined by someone who has enough pop bangers to serve up for breakfast. Depending on how many sausages you have, really.
Dua Lipa, but they sent this instead, so we've just had to sort of go with it.
Just send it right away. We're joined by Alfie Templeman. Alfie,
hey guys.
How are you doing? How are things?
So disappointed, right? You know, you got this little twat to deal with instead. Yeah, I am phenomenally good. I'm kind of upset that I'm not Dua Lipa now, and I'm kind of upset that that I haven't written as many hits as her. But you know, we got to self-deprecate to get through the hard times. So we're all here.
Also, I'm glad.
How are you guys? How are we doing?
We're good. We're good. You know, we are.
Sweet.
We're doing all right. You know, I mean, some people say that this show is, probably the darkest corner of the internet. And I don't know. I think I'd probably agree with that at times.
I've seen worse. I think.
I think.
Well, 30 seconds. And you're already going. I mean, it's pretty bad. It's definitely pretty bad. But I've seen worse.
We'll figure that out by the end. We'll see what happens.
we'll see how we go. How have you been keeping over the past few months? Obviously, stuff going on in the world.
Yeah. I've been doing this thing, right? Because I didn't realize it would actually take this long. In terms of the corona stuff, yeah. So I started off it won't take long. So I was rushing everything and doing the usual thing where I make a song a day, and then it kind of got a few months in, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna take everything slow because who knows how long we're gonna be here for? Who knows how long it's gonna take till things return to normality. So I just started recording really slowly, and it was a new side, I guess, to how I make stuff, which was quite interesting because before I'd make a song in a few hours, but now I'd take a couple days and sit on it and look back and see how it progressed and stuff and see if I was still into it. And
nice.
I think it's a cool new way of writing stuff, and I think it's definitely going to help me in terms of making an album, which I'm trying to do at the moment.
Oh, you've said the word. You've said the A word. I mean, sweet heavens above.
I've said the A word, yeah.
You sweet heavens. Don't put pressure on yourself, mate. Don't do that. Jesus. Straight in. Just,
no.
we're doing that.
we chill
Sorry,
it.
Jamie,
we chill it.
don't put pressure on yourself to make an album. I mean,
no, just take your time.
It seems like the logical next step, really. Let's be honest.
This might not go down well with people working with you, but I'm just saying, take your time, mate. You're doing well.
I believe in you, Alfie. I don't know what Jamie seems to think that you're not up to the task, but I reckon you'll smash it.
Hey,
I appreciate that, Stephen. Honestly,
I would just like to point out that I am on Stephen, the editor's account, but I am actually Jake. I forgot to point that out. That was more for the listeners at home. It's fine.
Dude, you've really just got me there. I thought your name was Stephen.
Yeah, to be fair, we set that trap. I think behind the curtain for anyone listening at home.
That was on purpose, wasn't it? That's not fair.
Come on now.
Well, your name's currently coming up as Caroline, Alfie. So let's not be throwing stones, eh?
You're joking, Caroline. That's my manager.
You're really seeing behind the curtain.
Maybe this really is the darkest place on the internet, and our idea was to prank each other in what our actual names are.
We've made it.
Amazing.
You must be. What's what's your current what's your current day in a life looking like? Are you knocking about in the park, or are you check?
How are
you? I go to the park. I like
but you're not normal.
No. I enjoy. I'm trying just to make songs again because I kind of had a period where I wasn't making them, but today I managed to make tons of them, which was cool. I started
tons, just easy.
Yeah, just easy, man. I'm proving to you that I'm ready for an album. Anyway, apart from that. A couple walks now and then. That doesn't hurt. That's good. I try and take a walk every day because it just helps the mind feel like kind of relaxed and stuff. But there's not much to it. I mean, it's as simple as that, really. I try and avoid doing too much, or else it makes my mind go a bit bleh. But
that's exactly what my mind does. That's exactly what my mind does, to be fair. It just throws up all over the place. I mean, Jake's seen it too many times.
You don't want to log onto your email account and see 20 emails and be like, bleh. It's when it's too much to handle.
Exactly.
Seems like the solution.
Just turn off your phone.
Just ignore them all.
That's true. That's a good idea, actually.
Just sack it off. You have a brand new EP that has just come out. How does that feel? How does that feel? We talked about it last week on the show. We're not going to tell you what we thought about it, but
you did, and I listened back to it, and I'm honestly, it's amazing. I'm honestly, thank you so much. God. It really does mean a lot.
I have absolutely no recollection of what we spoke about. The second we finished recording, I forget all of this.
You said it was most EPs kind of sound the same the whole way through, but this one sounded like it had different elements to it and stuff, and different sounds and stuff, which meant a lot.
Oh, you really took notes. I'm impressed.
You can put it on a poster if you want. We've got no problem with that.
No, it means a lot, and that's something that I'm trying to do for the record when I get around to making an album. But getting it out there was amazing because I spent a lot of time on it. I started making it nearly a year ago, so to kind of, it's almost like lifted a ton of weight off your shoulders when you do release a record. The moment it goes out, it's just an exceptional feeling. You've got all these people that are checking it out and stuff. And I honestly didn't think at first that it would get this much kind of attention and all these people enjoying it and stuff. I thought it would get a lot more criticism than it did.
You were prepared. You were prepared to be absolutely ripped apart. Is that what you're saying?
I had a drawer of knives and guns ready to go, and I had Dork's address ready to
you're ready to go
outside HQ and stuff. But
you got nothing else on. This is the perfect time to start a vendetta because just go across the country, set some dog poo on fire. You got nothing else to do, you know.
You've given it away now.
Idea. Yeah,
you've given it away. We're going to know who it's going to be now. We're clearly going to point to you. If anything happens, we'll be like, I reckon that's Alfie.
That's not good.
I reckon that's Alfie. God, but that's good though. Positive response. Positive response. Everyone's doing all right.
It was really cool seeing such a positive response. And now I'm just scared to release anything else because I didn't expect to get really good reviews, but I'm excited to hopefully continue that. And I feel like the album's kind of almost the same thing, but double in length, if that makes sense. I've tried to do that.
That does make sense. That does make sense practically.
Tried to expand that, tried to still work on many different genres and different ideas that I have that followed onto that EP, but now almost double it and work on those same ideas and expand them even more. So hopefully that works out, I guess.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, fingers crossed.
Roll the dice, let's just see how we go,
Yeah.
See what happens, see what happens. And I guess that as well, I guess, it's been, you've put out, so many releases already. Like you say, that idea of you were doing one song a day. I rate the fact that you've just gone, do you know what, that's a bit too much. Most people would be like, oh yeah, I'm just a creative, But you've gone, do you know what, that's way too much. That's way too much. I've got other things to do in my life. Do one for 5 seconds.
That's it. Yeah, that's literally what I thought. To be honest, no, in I don't know, to be honest, I was doing that, and I was like, why don't I switch it up? Why don't I try something else? And why don't I see how this goes down? And maybe taking a bit more time might help my ideas come to fruition a bit more, and I can expand on them. So I think that's the whole idea with the album. Just sit on them a bit longer and see how they come about. Because I was reading about Kevin Parker, how he always used to not take that long in terms of making songs, and then he'd put them out there and then he wouldn't like them afterwards. But like when he got to like currants, he spent like longer on them, and like he sat on them for longer, and then looked back on them, and then like still enjoyed them. So that's kind of what I'm trying to do. Like take more time and like make sure that I still like them long term rather than short term.
Yeah, that's
the thing as well. And especially like if one of them is really big and you end up not liking it, you've got to play that forever.
Yeah, that's the rest of your life.
That's the thing. Yeah, exactly.
You don't need that. You don't need that. Like you know, enjoy your own music, mate. Please.
That's the thing, especially because I'm fairly quite young. It's gonna be hell if I get to like 67 and I've been playing the same thing that I hate for like 50 years. So
you're like, not this fucking song again.
Yeah, exactly. Like I proposed a set with the one that everyone loves, but I absolutely hate because I played it for like 50 years straight and didn't like it when I first made it. Like that's the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, that's definitely something to avoid. I think that's a fair thing. Maybe I'll wait a day or two before I put this out, in case in 50 years' time I'm still playing it and I hate it.
Exactly.
You're looking ahead.
Yeah. Even worse, I don't want the band hating it either. Like, I don't want the band just like giving me death stares for the song. Like, man, why did you write this?
I mean, and you've not had that so far. So
it's amazing because we've enjoyed like every song we've played, probably apart from like one I made called Orange Juice, which is so like repetitive and boring that it just gets on everyone's nerves. But you know,
you're still playing it as well. Yeah, I mean, we still play it, but we all hate it. It sucks.
Yeah,
you've got to fill the set somehow, haven't you?
You know, you need that one song that makes everything else sound like.
That is a good idea. Yeah, you're like, this is what we could be doing. So you should be thankful for the other stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the whole point. We're really awful, but we just like pretend we're good.
Could be
while,
worse.
like, playing a really bad song.
Yeah, could be. Yeah. You're like, well, that shit, but the rest of it, hey,
yeah,
not bad.
That's the whole point. Yeah.
You're weighing it up. Oh,
yeah,
tremendous.
giving them like a salad than giving them chocolate. Do you get what I mean? Like,
oh, here we go. No, I mean, yeah. I mean, fair play. What's your favourite chocolate bar, Alfie? Because this has caused debate.
God.
This has caused debate between me and Jake many times.
It's a bit controversial. So,
Jesus, here we go.
Is it going to be like Dr. Urker's cooking chocolate or something?
I thought that was pizza. Hang on. All right.
He does all sorts. You can't keep him down.
Yeah, he's quite good, isn't he? I've had like a £1 pizza from him. All right. Anyway, I'm not even joking when I say this. One of my favourite chocolate bars is Bounty.
Oh,
that's bad choice. Terrible choice.
Oh, God.
I mean, listen.
Why?
I reckon.
What's your reasoning?
Most people that hate on bounties have never had one. I
what
swear
do you mean?
to God, like
they come in every box of celebrations. You give them a go.
No. Seriously, most people that hate on bounties just look at it and they're like, "Oh, chocolate and coconut. I don't want that," and then they never even bother having it. It's actually like the pengest chocolate, okay? And whenever I get an Indian, I always have that coconut naan.
Oh yeah,
I thought you were going to say whenever you get an Indian, you get a bounty for dessert.
No.
What Indian are you going to?
No. Seriously, like it's the best thing. I think it's called a Peshwari naan.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
That is actually quite nice.
So your favourite chocolate bar is the Peshwari naan?
No. Well, you think about it. No. This is my logic. It's like a Peshwari naan, but without the naan bread. It's just chocolate instead of the naan, right?
That is true. That is what it is.
I mean,
it's like a spaghetti bolognese, but instead of the spaghetti, it's chocolate, and instead of the bolognese, it's coconut.
Oh, you're making it sound awful.
The thing is, Bounty is controversial. Bounty is it is controversial.
To be fair, at least like come Christmas time, you're there. You're the hero. You're eating all the bounties.
I'll happily eat them, mate. They're good, and I reckon they're the biggest ones in all the boxes, because I think they know that bounties are like the most unpopular ones. So like they're looking out for bounty fans. They're like, yeah, we'll give you the biggest chocolate out of all of them. Like
the connoisseurs,
yeah, the real dealers. This is obviously this is obviously a call out to Bounty. If you need a brand ambassador,
I will happily do it.
I will happily take that on, and I will
Alfie
be doing
Bounty
it.
Templeman.
Oh God, change the handle now. Change the handle now.
Right, that's it.
That's it. We're done.
Alfie Bounty Templeman.
An email is being sent. Oh God, I've just realised we should probably. I mean, like you've got to do it. Like, you know, you've got to embrace. You know, is there a certain, like, you know, brand partnership that you're after? Because you've got the airwaves now, and you can obviously go after it. Obviously, Bounty is the key one. I don't want to get in the way of that.
Yeah, Bounty's good. Bounty's good. Heinz baked beans would be good.
Baked beans,
that's a good one.
Like a can.
You know,
would you call it?
Anything that kind of resembles
would you ever
a meme.
dip a Bounty in a tin of baked beans?
Oh.
If I don't know. I was going to say something, but no.
Wait, you can't do that. You can't.
No, because it would expose me, and then I get all the jokes like, "Oh, you're too young for that." But I was going to say if I was drunk.
Oh, of course. If though, hypothetically, in a few months' time. Right, now, Jamie, a minute ago, was actually skirting around something quite important, but then he immediately forgot about it and asked about brand partnerships. And I think that was the fact that we haven't actually played any songs in a while. Was that what you were going to say, Jamie?
We haven't actually played any of your music yet, and I feel like we should probably do that.
To be honest, dipping a Bounty in baked beans is probably better than any song I've ever
tell you what, we'll put the
released.
song on, and for anyone listening at home, this song's the perfect length for you to heat up some beans and dip a Bounty in there. Just go to town.
You're right. Yeah.
This is happiness in liquid form.
Happiness in liquid form. I'm drinking it down. I just wanna drown. I know I can be happiness in liquid form, but neither can you. So what should we do? I know I can be.
Jamie, is it true that you, if you ever opened a restaurant, you have a chef special called Happiness in Liquid Form, which is just a load of baked beans with broken up Bounty on top?
that actually is my plan now. I mean, I don't want to say I've taken your idea, Alfie, but
like a crust, like a shepherd's pie, but the Bounty is the mash on the top.
Oh my
mate.
God, here he is.
I would have thought the Bounty was the mash. Not the mash.
The filling.
The filling, yeah, like the mince.
Yeah.
Nah, the beans are the filling, and the Bounty's just crumbled on top artfully, you know?
Oh. That is grim. I feel like you've actually got to kind of feel like you've got to take your time and separate the coconut from the chocolate, and then make it so that the chocolate goes on top of the baked beans, and then sprinkle the coconut on top.
Oh yeah,
because then the coconut kind of looks like mash. Then
exactly, it's perfect.
God,
yeah, fuck off, Gordon Ramsay.
Jesus, I hope he's not listening. He's very sensitive.
He is a listener.
Just a bit, anyway.
Yeah. But also, if he wants to serve it up, go for it.
In the interest of getting somewhere someday, we have another feature to look at, don't we, Jamie? What we've done, Alfie, is we've gone back through your extensive tweet history and picked out some good ones, and we're gonna ask you to give us a bit of detail, a bit of background. You know, how were you feeling? What trousers were you wearing? What sort of day it was?
That kind of thing. What trousers I was wearing. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Go on.
I'm gonna go first with one that I quite enjoy, and my favourite thing about this is right. So 28th of December 2019, taking into account the Christmas break period.
Yeah.
Right?
Do you remember? Do you remember it?
Yeah, all right, Alfie.
Oh, no, it must be bad. It must be bad.
No, this is all right, right? So this is asparagus versus peaches. Go, right? But the best thing is that the poll results have been hidden as potentially sensitive content by Twitter.
I think... From what I remember, peaches won quite a lot, and
80.8% for peaches.
God,
disgusting,
Jesus.
man. That's awful.
Over asparagus.
Asparagus is way better. It makes your pee smell weird.
It does. That's true.
No,
Whereas, what does peaches do? What does peaches do?
I was cut. Yeah, I don't know. That's probably why it's sensitive. Anyway, honestly, I just remember thinking like, okay, I like peaches, but I like asparagus way more. But I feel like most people are going to disagree with me, if that makes sense, you know. So I kind of just sent out a tweet, and to be honest, I was a bit heartbroken when I saw the results because I didn't. My boy asparagus really got done dirty, and it kind of just broke my heart. So to be honest, when you said like 28th of December, like I did remember it, and it kind of hit the heart a little bit hard. Yeah, you know, I didn't really want to.
You're pretty sad about the end of all the Christmas festivities at that point. Most people are, right? So you're like, perk me up.
Blue January came early, you know, whatever it's called.
I mean, you know, to be fair, you've got someone on your side. The Twitter handle, which is @pptrousers, says that.
That really sums up my followers.
says that peaches are not good. So you've got PP trousers on your side.
I don't like those donut peaches. They're a bit weird. They're a bit hairy.
Oh, you don't need that. But peaches, obviously, a landslide win. God,
disappointing.
Real trauma. Hopefully, not as much.
Someone else replied, "You're fucking crackheads if you think peaches are better than asparagus." So
see,
the thing is,
there we go.
I think peaches won, right? But asparagus has a more dedicated following. You know, they're the true fans.
Yeah, your
see,
fans
that's all
came
great
out there.
until you realise that most of my fans, by that definition, are crackheads. So now, basically,
take what you can get. You know.
So basically, I'm thinking like. Well, like, are Alfie Templeman fans like crackheads or not?
Hey, every stream counts. Every fan counts.
Right.
It's all good, no matter if they like crack or not.
100%.
It's a positive way to look at it.
Leave them to their own devices.
I've got another tweet for you, Alfie. This is from
go on.
This is from January the 3rd.
January the 3rd.
And I feel like you have predicted, you've kind of seen where this year is going with this tweet. And you just said, seeing we have the internet now, do you think World War III is going to be fought on World of Warcraft?
Well, yeah.
I mean, it's falling apart now. Do you think that? What was your thoughts on that?
I had high beliefs that the Third World War. I still think this. I still think the Third World War is going to be like. It's going to be like a massive online battle, and like.
Yeah, you can do it all digitally now. Yeah.
Look, Russia's just going to completely like kill everyone through Minecraft. Russia's going to be like the one with like the Wither on Minecraft or something that just like deteriorates everything else.
Jamie there pretending he knows what that means.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Minecraft. Cool, yeah.
Warcraft. I know. But so,
you know what?
I mean,
this makes me feel worse than Jamie, to be honest, because I still play Minecraft. So
I still play Minecraft. Hey.
Okay, good.
Let's all. It's the most. What is it? It's the most successful piece of media ever created. So Jamie's in the minority.
That's correct.
Here. It's fine.
That's correct, Stephen, aka Jake.
Yes, my secret identity revealed.
Very fair. World War III.
Yeah, you're only using that name to hide the fact that you still play Minecraft.
Yeah,
Steven.
Yeah. Steven's playing it. It's like, yeah.
Oh wait,
God.
The name of like the actual Minecraft dude is called Steve as well. I forgot that.
It is. That's true. Alfie's here with receipts. Alfie knows, man.
It was a massive cover up the whole time.
The rest of us.
Yeah, I know everything.
Well, only about Minecraft.
These guys aren't what you think.
Yeah. It's exposing.
Exposed.
Right, this is getting pretty personal. I'm not sure if I'm into.
Yeah, let's move on. Let's move on. Yeah. Let's move on.
Now, I've only just realised actually that the ones we've gone with out of this, we had basically what we did, Alfie. We had a impressive screening process. So we took a long list of tweets and whittled it down to the best ones. And this is the third one that has been in a week period. So this is from the 2nd of January.
So you had a really good run.
Yeah. I really did, yeah. I was a bit excited.
The original tweet is, listening to new artists before they blow up is like buying Apple stocks in 1977, right? But the one we're going to focus on... You did,
you said that.
Then the one we're going to focus on is your quote tweet of that, where you said, that's why you should invest in Alfie Templeman, that wonderful 16-year-old British kid who made a pop album that will rock your world this 2020. Discuss.
Very good. Very good. Yeah.
You're selling, aren't you?
Yeah. See, the plan's changed a bit. It's 2021 now, so
you can all help back.
Still do invest healthily, and I'm the next Steve Jobs. Apart from, I'm not a fruitarian, and
you're not bald.
I am. I'm not bald. I mean, he used to have quite a good head of hair, so.
So you think, sort of similar path, similar kind of trajectory, hair-wise, as Steve Jobs?
Yeah, is that where you see yourself going?
Probably got a bit more.
That's good. Now. That's something to aim for.
Yeah, I mean, we wear the same clothes, though. I mean, we did. He's dead, but...
Well, are you wearing the same clothes because you stole all of his clothes when he died?
Yeah, maybe. Okay, this is getting dark. I don't want people to think I'm, laughing at Steve Jobs dying or something.
That's fair. You've got a better sense of this stuff than we do, so we'll take your word for that not being a good thing to go for.
I actually loved Steve Jobs. He was a bit... Yeah. He was kind of mean, but yeah, basically what I'm saying is just buy my album, man. Fair. I'm gonna invent the next iPhone.
Only if you buy the album, though.
I love all that joking, and then you were like, no, please, just buy the album.
Buy the album, man.
Someone's replied saying that you should leak the album. So they clearly have more faith in you than Jamie does, that you already have one.
That sounds like a really good idea, and I'm going to do that because it's definitely going to help me.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that makes sense, doesn't it? We have one more tweet for you, Alfie. I mean, we could be here all day, but we have one more tweet. And I just kind of want your thoughts about this. So this was May 29th. So
we skip forward. We're a few months forward.
Yeah. We're in the midst of
May 29th. Wow.
In the middle of lockdown mania.
If you will. And you have asked, and you've just gone thinking about what it's like to be Ross McDonald's beard. How about you?
Yes. Yes, so I can explain this one quite a bit, actually.
Great.
I went to see the 1975 in February with my mate Joss, who plays guitar in my band. We were sat there, and I don't think Joss was really observing Ross, but I was. I was really looking at his beard, and I was wondering, what's it looking at? Like, is it looking at the audience? Is it looking at the floor? Is it looking at the ceiling? Is it looking at the bass? Like, what's it doing? Like, was it really observing? Like, I was just kind of like sat there wondering, like, is the beard really like taking into account how lucky it is right now to be on stage? Like, I was just thinking. I was also wondering, like, does he keep his breakfast in there? Does he does he keep it hydrated? Honestly, I'm just hoping that he does take good care of his beard. It looks great, and
it does
I'm really
look
proud
good,
of
to
the
be
guy.
fair.
Alfie, you said you could explain this one, but I'm even more confused than I was when we started, I think, to be honest.
Jake, I see it. I understand it, because you're watching
the fact that you've got Jamie on board proves that this is lunacy. Like, the fact that Jamie understands, like, that's a bad sign.
Honestly, Jake, part of the beauty is not knowing really what I mean.
How poetic.
Kind of keeping it down low, you know. Well, you know, and that's what I love. That's what I love about Ross McDonald. You don't really hear about the guy, you know. I don't know what his beard's doing. I mean, does he even still have a beard? Like, it could be shaven. Like,
I don't know. I haven't seen him recently.
It could be down the toilet, you know.
Oh my god!
What's it looking at now? The
sewer.
Justice
for Ross's beard.
Justice for Ross's beard.
Please. You've also followed up that tweet by just going, I bet he gives really good hugs. And I agree.
He does.
I bet he does.
He definitely does. Yeah. He definitely does. Yeah.
Oh, have you had a hug from Ross McDonald?
No. But I mean, you can just kind of tell, like, if you look at him. You can
tell. He's like a big cute panda. He does look very. Ross. It does look warm. Yeah, Ross, if you are listening, Alfie would like a hug.
I would love a hug.
Just one.
Just the
Ross,
one.
you're my favourite member of the 1985 as well. I'd just like to put that out there.
He is God.
Ross, I don't really know the names of any of the members, so you can be my favourite too.
Jake's having fun. Oh God, should we celebrate that fun by playing another song by our guest here, Jake?
Yes,
I'm thinking.
Yes, we should.
Yeah, we should probably do
Personally,
that.
I think that's a really good idea because I need a pee.
Oh, great. Lovely. Nice
it
to
all
hear.
counts to royalties. So we're all helping out here. This one is Maybe This Is Time. That's a lovely song, Alfie.
Maybe this is time.
That was like a sort of Bowie cover of it. I quite enjoyed that.
Yeah. Kind of like,
Yeah. Oh Lord. I hate to say it, but unfortunately, it feels like I think we're closing out the door now. I mean, Alfie, we've decided to do this, but I feel like we kind of want wish we were kind of here all the time. How's your weekly schedule looking?
Mate, I'm happy to come back and pretend that I'm Dua Lipa again or something. So
Yeah, we can't have the same guest on each week, so you will have to pretend you're someone else every week.
Mate, that's fine. I'll start growing out facial hair and then become Ross McDonald and then pretend to respond to myself and be like, yeah, love you, Alfie.
Right, well,
I love that.
Enjoy growing a beard.
Thank you,
and we'll see you soon.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Alfie.
Lots of love. Thank you for having me.
Alfie has left. The void is huge.
Let's try and fill that void, Jamie. Let's just not think about it. It's like a bad breakup. It's like a bad breakup. You just got to keep pushing forward. Get a haircut, get a new jacket, and listen to some new music, Jamie.
I've got my jacket on. Let's talk about new music. Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah. Go on then. New music this week. It's been a stacked week. Loads of great tracks out there. Shout out to the latest Creeper one. We don't have enough room. I'll be frank with you.
We don't. We were trying to work it in, but
it didn't work. It didn't work.
Basically.
But let me start with your favourite animated band. We're talking about remember you're. Sorry, I didn't expect that. I'm talking about Gorillaz, of course.
Oh, of course, yes.
So it is Gorillaz. They're back with the next part of their Song Machine series. So they're releasing a range of tracks basically throughout the year. They've obviously released a range so far, featuring a bunch of different artists like Octavian and Georgia and a whole range in there. The latest one they've put out is called Pac-Man, which features Schoolboy Q.
Big fan of Schoolboy Q.
So
never ever got the attention he deserved. That's my.
No, I agree.
Schoolboy Q came up with. I remember at the time there was A$AP Rocky, Schoolboy Q, and Kendrick, and they were like, "These are the next big thing." And what happened? Schoolboy Q was the best dressed of the three of those until A$AP Rocky outdid him on that.
Best dressed. Here we go.
For a while,
Jesus,
he wore a bucket hat. He looked cool.
I didn't realise you were
fashionista.
I didn't realise you were the Evening Standard fashion pages. Jesus,
I am. Yes, the magazine. I believe it's called.
It's me.
Yes.
Me.
But anyway, I was going to say, great albums, always great features, and this Gorillaz track, great feature. Justice for Schoolboy Q. That's what I say.
Exactly. And what's quite weird as well is obviously this song is called Pac-Man, and you think, oh, I bet it's about the game. It actually is about the game. That's the thing. It's an ode to, Pac-Man, the game. It's actually a thing.
Great game.
someone said that it was from Damon Albarn's perspective of being Pac-Man.
Can Damon Albarn not just write a song from his own perspective anymore? Like, I'm an animated man called Noodle. Oh, I'm a Pac-Man. Like, come on, Damon.
Famously,
you're just Damon.
Damon isn't Noodle. This is that. Right. While you listen to this, me and Jake are gonna have a very in-depth conversation about
Murdoch.
why.
Which one's Damon?
Damon is Noodle, isn't he? I thought. Oh no, he's Murdoch.
You just say he's not Noodle. No, you don't even know.
I don't know. We're gonna debate this whilst you listen to this new one because it's a really great song. This is Gorillaz with Schoolboy Q, and this is Pac-Man.
How can I trust truth? When I ain't got nothing to sell, I shatter my thoughts to get out my shell. Why would I hold my tongue to tuck in my tails? Ayy, can't dream if my ego is broke. Nah, the jokes, I try to find the answer to nope. My type of drive, you can't buy this shit. You got a heart, but it don't beat like this. I had a spark, then my mind went trip. Create the wave, so the vibe all mix. I've been at the top of the top, fell from the ceiling.
I don't think we've come to a consensus, have we?
I think the real Damon Albarn is the friends we made along the way.
I couldn't agree more. Gorillaz. Continuing their Song Machine series, sounding brilliant. It's great that they're just doing a series as well where every song sounds,
This is the most excited I've been about Gorillaz in years. Genuinely, leaving aside my mockery.
Is it?
When they first did the Song Machine stuff, I was like, what is it? What are you doing? You know, my patience was thin. But I think they're consistently good tracks, and the people they've got on them have been consistently good as well. It's like this with the Schoolboy Q one. It's not a Schoolboy Q song, and it's not a Gorillaz song with a tacked-on feature, even though it's it's Gorillaz all the way through and then just a Schoolboy Q verse at the end. It's so clearly collaborative in that way, and if it isn't, it sounds like it is. So that's, props to whoever's done that. I'm just really enjoying it as a kind of platform for these artists and for Gorillaz to be, I don't know, less formulaic than they have been. I guess.
But
they became a bit safe.
Yeah, but it also with Gorillaz, it feeds into exactly what everything they've been doing. They've always been about collaboration, but this is probably the best way that they've presented it. I'd probably say. I
think it's the presentation that does it. Yeah,
the presentation. They've done stuff obviously with their collaborations are endless, aren't they? You see the albums, the names are ridiculous, but the way they're presenting this, it allows all these artists to shine. And it's just brilliant. Yeah, it's really good. It's really, really good. And it's just another example of them just slapping the bass out of the bassland.
Great. On that note,
yes, Jake.
I have been listening to the new Blocks track, Off My Mind, which is great.
Right.
Oh, more. You want more? Okay.
Which is great.
Well, that sums it up for me. I really enjoy Blocks. I saw them a while back. Where was that? Tufnell Park, maybe? I saw them.
Yeah, Tufnell
anyway.
Park Dome. Yeah, Tufnell Park Dome. Yeah.
They got songs. They got bangers, and I love them. I think they're great. This new track, I think, is genuinely a step up. I think it's just such a good fun. It's still that kind of indie band music, but there's that kind of, it's kind of a real pop sensibility to it, like big, just big. It's just great. I genuinely, when I said it's great, and that's all I've got. I don't even think I couldn't sum up what it's one of those. You listen to it, and if someone said, "What exactly do you like about it?" I'm just there, like, well, just all of it. It's just
great.
Good.
It's just great.
So I'm just going to play it because we spoke about Gorillaz a lot. So to make up for lost time, I'm going to waffle less. I'm going to play the Blocks track now. This is Blocks with Off My Mind.
I
Let the music do the talking. You know, I can understand. You know, I rate it. Obviously, blocks are. You know, they're. You know, they famously played our Hype List show at the end of last year at the Social in London. Yes. Do you remember Gigs? That was mad, wasn't it? God, not the rapper. He's all good.
No, I was going to say he wasn't there. I don't remember.
He wasn't there.
There was gigs followed by blocks. Gigs supported, and then blocks came out.
And you know, that's what happened. Good on blocks. Great song. Shall I move to another song?
Yeah, why not?
Why not? Let's talk about music. And let's talk about Inhaler. Friends of the magazine. We've talked about them before on the show. Obviously, they're a band who feel like... It feels like Inhaler are just on the cusp of being like massive. If not, they're already like huge already.
I think they've sustained it incredibly well because they were right on that cusp, and then obviously lockdown happened. And a lot of bands, I think, are like, oh shit, how do we keep this momentum going? And Inhaler are just effortlessly treading water in the same very buzzy position. They're just we're still great. We're still going to be huge.
I think that's a good point. That's a good point. We've talked about it quite a bit, obviously between ourselves. You know, obviously with everything going on, you know, a lot of bands were ready to be like the whole big summer and do all the big shows. And Inhaler would have been at all of them. Like, they would have done all of those shows. But obviously that's been taken away, and I feel like they've really mastered what they're doing. Obviously, we talked about Falling In, their latest single, a few weeks back now, and it obviously really goes. And they've now shared basically a new cover of Mazzy Star's, I guess, like iconic track, which is Fade Into You. And I think what's really interesting about this is that, you know, Inhaler are a band that, you know, can pull upon like those sort of like classic alternative influences and do it really well. But it just feels so like fresh and new when they do it. And like, I know that sounds the most wanky thing in the world, but it just makes perfect sense to me. And also, what is quite nice is that they're willing to do this without being too, you know, like it just fits for them. They're just like, yeah, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this cover. We're gonna do this.
Jamie, before you play it, I've got a little game I've prepared for you.
Oh my god! Sorry, what?
So
You've got a game for me.
This is a cover of "Fade Into You," right?
Yeah.
Okay. "Fade Into You" has been used in a lot of films and TV shows. So I want you to give me your opinion. I'm going to list everything it's been in, and you tell me which one of those you think Inhaler first heard the song on. Okay. So Inhaler is sitting down. They put the TV on, and they're trying to think of a song to cover. Which of these do you think they watched? Yeah.
Okay.
So did they watch? I'm just going to run through them all. Angus, Starship Troopers, Swept Away, Lord of War, Burlesque, End of Watch, Chasing Mavericks, Tall Girl, The To-Do List, Thank You for Your Service, American Honey, Liam Gallagher, Gilmore Girls, Desperate Housewives, Roswell, New Mexico, Without a Trace, Cold Case, CSI New York, Person of Interest, Fringe, Waterloo Road, My Mad Fat Diary, American Horror Story Hotel, True Blood, Psych, Friends from College, Ray Donovan, Felicity, the reboot of Charmed, Californication, or Suits.
Without doubt, I reckon Inhaler are watching Desperate Housewives.
Yes, that's what I thought too. It was either that or Gilmore Girls, wasn't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah, it's got to be the one of the two. Amazing. So picture Wisteria Lane. Picture Desperate Housewives. But this song is, like, their cover is just really lovely. So let's just have a moment. This is Inhaler with their version on Fade Into You. Like, Desperate Housewives is all that's in my head now. That's all I can think of is, you know,
it works. I can imagine them playing in Wisteria Lane, Like
what? Is it like they all come outside and they're in
no, so they're just there
like,
playing, and a couple of the characters walk past. One of them's called Bree. Is that right?
Yeah. Eva Longoria was in.
That's not the character. That's the actress.
It's not the character, but
that's not how this works. They don't just all refer to each other by their real names.
Isn't that how films work?
Wait a second. Is that Eva Longoria? She's rich and famous. Why is she living in Wisteria Lane?
That's how it all works.
But anyway, if one of the characters is called Bree, that's good, because the next song that I want to talk about is by Bree Runway.
Oh, here he is. The professional. Absolutely delivering
Bree Runway's
again.
new track, Gucci, which is an absolute banger. I love Bree Runway. I think it's great. It's great. I mean, her music is great. I love the fact that she is from Hackney as well. That brings me no end of joy. Because I think if you don't know anything about her, the image and the music you just assume is some kind of like American sort of alternative pop thing. It's got that real vibe to it, and I love that there are UK artists over here now doing that, like Rena, Bree Runway, FKA Twigs, who we'll be talking about later as well. I love that there is a real UK strain of that kind of thing now, which is. It's not copying America, it's just doing its own thing, and it can easily stand up with anything that's coming out of America, and I'm a big fan of that. I'm a big fan of being able to listen to music that was made 10 miles away, and it sounds like it could have been made 10,000 miles away. Also, this song's a banger, so...
That helps. That's why we picked it. That's why we picked it, to be honest. It's a banger. That's lovely stuff. What's the song called?
It's called Gucci, and here it is.
Last night I was shaking my ass in the Marriott. Tonight we're doing business. How much you got? Ain't nobody like me. Got for my spot. Count my blessings up so high. And shout out to God. I came on up, I did. Spend a couple racks, I did. Easy, I did. Till I come with the kid. Flexible like a smith. Burning up like a options like my wigs. They ask how I do, I did. Gucci like a girl, they could call. Got a lot of nice things I need to know. Hella propositions on my phone.
There it was.
Brilliant stuff. She's brilliant. Yeah. This is probably a good moment to talk about the new issue of Dork Magazine, which is out now. It is a great moment to talk about it. If you're listening to this and you haven't subscribed to Dork Magazine, or you haven't heard about Dork Magazine, I actually don't know how that's physically possible.
Yeah, that would be a convoluted way of getting here.
Yeah. If you could send in a letter and just explain what on earth you're fucking doing, we can run it out on air and just work out what's wrong with you. But don't worry about that. The new issue of Dork is out now. Big old issue. The cover is obviously a friend of the magazine, Declan McKenna. Big
the one,
Deck
the only.
Energy. We obviously will be talking about his album in the next few weeks. Big old stuff. There's a range of stuff in there. Talking to a range of acts, including Fontaine.
You say this is a good time to mention it. There's I think sort of page 3 or 4 is my chat with Alex from Sports Team about the album. So when we were talking about the album being nominated for a Mercury, that might have been a good time to mention it as well. So,
could have been.
Done well there, haven't I?
So if you've lasted this long, this is the moment we sell the magazine. Some would say that's not commercially viable. I would say we forgot and we've had a few pints. So, let's roll the dice and see.
Speak for yourself, Jamie. Jesus.
How dare you? Don't call me under the bus.
Besmirch my good name.
Don't throw me under the bus.
I've been eating strawberry laces and drinking tea.
How dare you? How dare you? New magazine is out now. New issue is out now. Head to readdork.com to find out more. You'll find a big old chat with Bree Runway in there. So great stuff. Happy days. Happy days. It's time for the album of the week. Big old stuff. So we were planning this week. We had an album in mind. So shout out to Jesse Lanza, who we were going to talk about.
Yeah, I feel quite bad for this, but I mean, there's no way around it, is there?
Yeah, I do feel quite bad for Jessie. We were going to talk about Jessie Lanza's new album, which is amazing. It's a really great pop album. Go and check it out. Like, really brilliant stuff. We were going to talk about Jessie Lanza's album. But
I believe there's a review of it in the new issue. Is that right?
I mean, that would sound about right.
So, if you don't want to listen to this and you did want to hear about Jessie Lanza's, pick up a copy of the magazine, give it a read.
Scroll through the pages and live through the ages. But if you don't want to do that, we're going to talk about this pop emergency that landed on our desk.
Pop emergency. Pop emergency. Pop emergency.
It slapped us in the face like a wet fish. It's called Taylor Swift's new album. Literally announced by the time when we were recording this, it's like less than 24 hours ago that this was announced.
So, ridiculous stuff.
Which is crackers. It's called Folklore. So we obviously had to just go straight in and be like, right, we need to talk about this. So we're going to be joined by Abby in a bit to talk about Taylor Swift's new album, Folklore. I really love it. I think, Jake, you really enjoy it as well. So that's quite nice.
I did.
We agreed.
Yeah, I enjoyed it a surprising amount.
Wonderful stuff.
Taylor Swift's obviously brilliant, but I've never finished an album of hers and wanted to listen to it again immediately. And I guess it does speak volumes about me that the first one that's happened to has been considered as her boring album. I must be quite boring.
Here he is.
I'm not saying it. I just got told that earlier when I said, hey, this album. They were like, yeah, of course. Of course you like that one, don't you?
Of course he is. Here he comes. It's an incredible album. I think it genuinely might be one of her best, but we're going to be joined by Abby in a sec because we have to get Abby in. Abby knows her shit. So before then, let's listen to, the big lead single on this where, there's the video where she's hanging on the piano. That's all we've seen. Again, it's all very sudden. We're all trying to come to terms with it. To come to terms with it, to this new one. This is Cardigan by Taylor Swift. We'll be back in a bit.
A friend to all is a friend to none. Chase two girls, lose the one. When you are young, they assume you know nothing. But I knew you, playing hide and seek and giving me your weekends. I knew you, your heartbeat on the high line once in 20 lifetimes. I was an old cardigan under someone's bed. You put me on
The joyous tones of Cardigan by Taylor Swift. Really lovely stuff. I feel smooth as a daisy.
Smooth brain.
It's about time we maybe not. It's about time we introduce our famous pop correspondent, who we had to call up at last minute, thanks to all this, surprise malarkey that people like to pull. But don't worry, Abby was there in a heartbeat. Abby, how are you doing? Welcome back.
When there's a pop emergency, you know who to call.
Exactly. Don't call the Ghostbusters. They're not going to help you. That's not any good anymore. But Abby is.
And one of them's dead. Is one dead?
No, no. They're all alive, aren't they? Well, the ghosts maybe. famously are dead.
They're dead.
Famously so.
Which brings us neatly onto the new Taylor Swift album, because she's not dead. So
she isn't dead.
That's a nice, neat segue active. For us there.
She very much is. Abby, how do you first of all feel about surprise album releases? Are you a fan of that?
I don't mind one. I think that they're only really impactful when they come from someone like Taylor Swift or Beyonce. Like if it's someone random and then no one really cares, it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
usually
they have to come relatively soon after the last album. It should, because an album every couple of years is like what you kind of expect, right?
Yeah.
So if it's been like 2 years and then they surprise drop an album, it's like, well, yeah, I mean, it was,
it was.
And I'm not saying it was due.
Yeah.
But like realistically, it's not like a big treat. Whereas this one is like, I didn't expect one so soon.
Here it is.
That's the excitement. And also, it's got to be someone like Taylor Swift because it's just going to be embarrassing if it's like the vaccines and no one notices.
Jesus Christ! Just sends out. I just went for the easy target of Noel Edmonds, but sweet.
Every week I like to test whether any bands listen to this by just completely dragging one of them and seeing whether they come for me on Twitter.
Well, I know you understand. We've already had Alfie Templeman through the door, so it's probably this is the likeliest time that you've decided to swing.
That's true. Yeah, this is the one that people are actually going to listen to. So, Abby, I hear you've got a ranking of cardigans, and you're quite passionate about cardigans. How did you feel about the Taylor Swift cardigan bundle? What do you think about that cardigan?
Yeah,
I think she's outbundled everyone else here.
My God.
And the person receiving the bundle will be bundled up in their cardigan.
There's a literal bundle,
it works
isn't it?
on so many levels.
Yeah.
Inception of bundles.
There's a bundle of a bundle.
What can I say?
It's incredible stuff. But that is it. Also, dropping that at the last minute, just being like, does anyone need a cardigan? Maybe that was kind of like the key message of this album.
I like that she dropped a cardigan as merch at the height of summer.
Yeah, great. Just like mid-July, I'm going to surprise drop an album. It makes me think that she probably had an album release planned around autumn.
She
just went, surprise drop it. And they went, but Taylor, the cardigans, won't you please think of the cardigans?
Taylor Swift are going to buy it anyway.
And she's just gone, literally leaned over, she's gone, fuck it, put the cardigans out. And everyone's gone, fair play, you are Taylor Swift. Which isn't it? What makes this album, like we were saying, big surprise. It's been like just over a year since the release of her last album, Lover, and back with brand new music. And this is it. So I preface this by saying this is an album which, kind of like Charlie XCX's latest one, goes, this was, made during lockdown. But I think saying that it's like, we made it during lockdown, it kind of like, I don't know, does it kind of like, I don't want to label this album in that way.
I think it implies an aesthetic that isn't there.
Yeah.
I don't think, because the narrative there is that it's going to be, like Charlie's one, it's going to be more of a, I don't know, not thrown together, but it's going to be less polished and less, got these big names in it and that. And that just isn't the case here at all.
No,
it makes it sound like it's going to be like bedroom pop,
Yeah.
I think the tag with both of those albums, though, is that it's a bit more low-key. I think you can see that with Charlie's and with Taylor's, where it's definitely more introspective, more subdued, I suppose. Because even though on this one, there's obviously not going to be a banger. It's called Folklore. It's a folky album.
That's what it says on the tin, just like Ron Seal.
Yeah. But there wasn't necessarily a massive banger on Charlie's either, and she's known for the bangers.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing, isn't it? With Taylor, there was a bit of that country thread obviously there anyway. So this is definitely something different, but that side of it is less feels lockdown specific than it did with Charlie. And I think also this feels more like a kind of, even with the cover art and that, this is less I'm locked in my room with nothing to do and more I've been on a 50-mile hike in my hiking boots up a mountain with cargo shorts on.
You really have looked at that cover, haven't you?
Oh yeah.
There's 8 different covers, Jamie. There's 8 deluxe versions.
Oh god. I mean, I
was surprised actually. The cardigan's relatively reasonable. Just going back to that.
That's
not a bad deal. It's not a bad deal.
Stay tuned for my review.
I was about to say,
have you ordered one?
No, it's only available in America, I believe. But I would be buying
one. In the car, come on.
Terrible.
Mike, the rest
Can't
of the
you
world.
order it to a random address in America with the note, please send this to Abigail Firth, see whether it happens?
This is a call out to anyone who lives in the US listening to the podcast.
Anyone.
If you want to send me a Taylor Swift cardigan. Maybe not anyone, okay? Let's just rewind a little bit.
Because we don't trust some of you fuckers. Don't go near that. Here we go. So, Folklore, new album, like you say, a surprise album. Everyone, obviously people kind of, it feels like online have been drawn to kind of, I guess, the making of the album. And, it was all kind of done within different people and kind of remotely. But obviously plays upon the fact that there is obviously Aaron Dessner from The National, lurking around. Likewise with long-time collaborator Jack Antonoff, and you can definitely sense their kind of like, if you will, sonic palette over this. But what shines the most for me is Taylor's songwriting, which just shines more than ever, and it feels like in a lot of ways she's been doing this kind of like her whole career. Like it's some people say it's a departure, but I don't know. Does it feel like a mad
I think
departure?
It's more of an amplification of certain things, and also I think to me it feels like Taylor Swift wanted to make this album, so she got those people involved. Whereas it's not a case of her being like, I want to make an album, and also Matey from The National lives next door, so maybe he can help out. It's I've decided to make this album. Who's best to help me on it?
I think part of the surprise aspect for a lot of people, maybe people who've only sort of like kept up with her career since she's been like a superstar, were surprised by
the fake fans. Yeah, sorry, Abby, you can say it. You can say it. Fake fans.
Jesus Christ.
But like people who've come to know pop Taylor rather than like acoustic twiddly country Taylor, were a bit surprised by the collaborators. But like, I mean, I said when this album like was first revealed, this is going to be the one for like the red stands, like people who love, who have been like, oh, I miss old Taylor, I miss like country Taylor. It was going to be the album for those people. And I don't think I was necessarily surprised by like the fact that she has the Men of Boring on it, because she's been partial. She's been partial to Boring in the past. Like she's
a little
done
sprinkle of Boring.
Duets with, she's done the duet with Ed Sheeran and like the guy from Snow Patrol.
Say
and stuff.
Say it how you really feel, Abby. Just get it out. Get it out.
There's been blandness involved before.
Detours.
The truly impressive thing is that this album isn't boring, despite the Men of Boring.
Exactly, and it is surprisingly unboring. And like you say, I think it's because they don't really interfere much. It's very Taylor's album, and her songwriting is to the front, and it's very, I guess, reflective. And like you can tell she's been thinking a lot when she's been writing this. It's not like I better write a song. It seems like she's gone.
That's how it works.
I haven't thought about this at all.
Shit.
Jesus. Oh no. What rhymes? Got to find some rhymes in here somewhere.
But like that's actually like I think that's quite important. Like it really is like this. Everyone goes like, oh, is this like people have gone like, oh, this is a new side to Taylor Swift. Well, it isn't really. Like she's always been about like that really like just incredible like storytelling songwriting. Like I think she's always done that amazingly well, where you just like you feel a part of just like this tale that she just like unravels kind of, and it shines on this album probably more than most, because you aren't necessarily there isn't like loud noise over here or loud noise over here. It very much is just her kind of like just creating this amazing record. Like even Bon Iver pops up, and he never leaves his cave, really.
I wish Boney M popped up instead.
What did a version of like Rah
maybe
Rah
that's what she'll go next.
I mean, maybe. Let's not rule it out.
Taylor and Boney M. I think this is the perfect record. This one, nothing to do with Boney M. Ignore that. I think this record is the perfect one to drop without any promo, because if there had been promo, people would have been disappointed with this, that expected a pop album. People would be going, like, there would be some sections of her fan base who'd be like, waiting in anticipation, hearing the first single and being like, oh no, what's this? Whereas it coming out now, it's like anything's a bonus for anyone, so you can love it without having to worry about whether you'd prefer a big pop album, because there was one of them last year.
Yeah.
Just jumping off that as well, because like I don't know what would have been the single. I know Cardigan is like the quote unquote single, but like you can't really lead up to this album. I don't think it's very like deep and one thing. It exists in its own universe without like big promo and singles and all of the usual pop malarkey.
Yeah, no, definitely. And it feels
like it's probably still going to go number one by about 10 million copies.
I mean, it definitely. I mean, it will. But then that's. It feels like this is also a moment where she kind of, I guess, crosses over into being like, and she was already great. She was already like one of the top of the pops, if you will. But this is the sort of album which crosses over. Suddenly, it's just like it's kind of a universally acknowledged thing that, like, yeah, Taylor Swift is actually one of the best songwriters of this generation. There's no doubt about it. These songs are earnest and are, raw in a lot of places. This Is Me Trying, or The Last Great American Dynasty. All these songs come together, and all I can recommend is people just properly sit and just listen to the whole album. Like, this is an album you need to just sit and just completely just get involved with and listen to, and not just kind of like pop in here, pop in there. Go out, get a bag of chips. Nah, leave the chips. Go in, stay in the album. The chips will be fine. You'll be able to get them in a bit. They may go a bit cold, but microwave them. That's what I do. Pour the ketchup on the top.
Jamie, you're spiraling.
Sorry, I'm
Jamie,
spiraling.
come on.
I'm spiraling. Pull me back.
Okay, the album's a bit long.
I agree. It's. I do think you need to listen to it like all in one go, and I've tried to unpack this as much as I can, but it's only been out for 12 hours, and it's an hour long.
You
12
can't.
listens is not quite enough.
That's the thing. It came out this morning, and all three of us went, "Oh, what? How many? That long?" And we've got to listen to it for the show in 8 hours
okay,
time.
Let's count down.
Okay?
Yeah, we'll do it.
But there's we don't have time to like unpack all of the things, but with it being a Taylor Swift album as well, there's obviously loads of little Easter eggs and references to like other albums and lyrical threads that run through the whole thing, and it wouldn't be a Taylor Swift album without that. But like I say, we don't have time to go into that right now.
If we don't have time, what we do have time for is playing another track off the album. So which other track should we play off of it?
I think we should go for the one that speaks to all of the Taylor Swift truthers out there.
That is a discussion point for another time. Sweet heavens above. That could go on for a long time. The Taylor Swift.
Jamie, it's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I think I get to grips with it, but heavens above. Oh.
Let's go for the song that is allegedly written from a man's point of view. It's called Betty.
Most times, but this time it was true. The worst thing that I ever did was what I did to you. But if I just showed up at your party, would you have me? Would you want me? Would you tell me to go fuck myself? Or lead me to the garden? In the garden, would you trust me if I told you it was just a summer thing? I'm only 17.
You can really
one for all the Taylor Swift truthers out there.
I was about to say, delve into the theories. Jesus heavens.
Every time I come here, it just gets worse. The things that I put out into the world.
Yeah, to be fair, you did this. You did this. This was not us for once. We did not call this in. That's a cracker. Yeah. Very good song. What do you think comes next for Taylor Swift now? Like we've got, she's going to like drop this surprise album. It kind of, does this? Do you think this is just going to sit on its own? And that's kind of like, that this is going to be her like, if you will, your like, intimate album, if you will, or something like that. Or do you think this is like potentially a sign of what's to come further ahead?
I mean, I'm interested to see how this is going to play out with like rescheduled live shows and stuff like that, because I can't see this being particularly exciting to do in between like Shake It Off and Me.
Yeah. 22 into Cardigan. Maybe not.
But I would be interested to know how long she'd been planning on making a record like this, or if this has just purely come out of her like isolation boredom, which is absolutely incredible, really.
I would love to find out a few years down the line that she wrote it all in one night while eating like chicken nuggets or something. Just like literally, she announced it. She announced it the day she thought of it, and then worked on it in the 6 or 7 hours she had before it was out.
And just went, there you go.
And then just dropped it. Like, there you go.
Yeah. Just dropped it. Just like, there you go.
Isn't that what Charlie did?
Well, I mean, famously. I mean, we don't know about the nuggets. We don't see her dietary consumption. But maybe. There's not ruled it out.
We can imagine the nuggets.
Yeah. The nuggets are there. They are there always. Dips, maybe. Flavours, you don't But all we know is that Taylor Swift is dropping an absolute golden nugget of an album in folklore.
Jesus Christ.
An absolute gem. Incredible stuff. Abby, thank you for stopping by on such late notice. We had to pull you out from a ball pit where you seem to have, I don't know, there was a lot of I want to say...
I was getting crushed by real music. That's what was happening.
That was it. We had to pull you out, and we were like, we were literally screaming like, Abby, get out. Taylor Swift's about to drop an album. And you looked at us as if we had just...
And I said, real music saved me.
And there it was. It saved you from the ball pit, if you will. The metaphor of life, maybe. Don't drown in the ball pit.
None of that made any sense whatsoever as a metaphor. I'm sorry, Abby, but I think you have to leave because we're going to have to reboot Jamie before we talk about anything else. He's gone off the deep end.
Go get the cardigans.
I look forward to being called in again when there's, I don't know, a BTS surprise drop or something. I don't know what's next.
You're the first person we call. We don't even call each other. We both just call you separately. It's very awkward because we double up and it's just, God, it's a waste of time. But anyway, Abby, thank you for coming along. Enjoy your cardigans.
It's been a pleasure.
Whenever they arrive.
Right, now that we've got rid of her, we can finally talk about some other stuff, can't we?
Yeah. Abby has gone into the sunset. She has got her cardigans in hand. We're not messing about there. We'll find out all the details from her very, very soon. She'll be back on the show to talk about it, I'm sure. Obviously, we talked about tweets earlier with Alfie Templeman, so we're not. The polite way to put it is we're not fucking about. We're going straight into our Hall of Fame feature. Now, that's what I call a Hall of Fame feature.
I never really know. I mean, we do it. I think, is it now that's what I call a Hall of Fame, or is it now that's what I call a Hall of Fame feature? Or is it now that's what I call a Hall of Fame feature?
I thought it was now that's what I call a Hall of Fame feature. But
which would make it that's what I call a Hall of Fame feature.
Shall we just decide now, like between ourselves? I know everyone's listening, but shall we just decide that it's called now? That's what I call a Hall of Fame.
Okay, just one feature, I think.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Right. Anyway, everyone. So obviously we've run through a load of our favourites over the past few weeks. We've talked about a range of acts. We've talked about a range of bands, range of artists. And this week we're going to talk about an artist who, we were talking about the Mercury Prize earlier in the show, and an act that for a lot of people was probably the most glaring. Like, if you're going to pick a snub, if you're going to pick a omission from the list, it's probably going to be this artist. And that is FKA Twigs, who obviously last year released an incredible new album called Magdalene. And we're going to just delve into everything about FKA Twigs. But first what we're going to do, we're just going to play some music. So that's quite nice, isn't it? So have a listen to a big old tune. This is Cellophane.
The feelings that we had, didn't I do it for you? Why don't I do it for you? Why won't you do it for me? When all I do is for you, and didn't I do it for you? Why won't I do it for you?
Cellophane, my cellophane is at an all-time low. Cellophane by FKA Twigs. Great stuff.
That was odd.
Jake.
Odd little bit there.
Little one too. Jake,
towards the
FKA
end of the
Twigs.
show, gone a bit odd.
We've gone off the rails at this point. I'll be honest. We've had Alfie on. We've had Abby on. They're all rolling in. They're rolling out.
Hosting all evening. Ready for bed.
Yeah, we're here all night. FKA Twigs, an artist who I guess it's very easy to class FKA Twigs as a critically acclaimed artist who lives in that world, but if you think of other artists, there's no one quite like her. And I think that in itself is probably the most standout point. Do you know what I mean?
I think what you said about the critical acclaim is one thing, but she's also huge. I think that's the thing, isn't it? That's the point that makes it kind of the biggest deal is quite rarely do you see someone who's such a critical darling, and her music sounds so geared towards a muso loving it. You know what I mean? Someone going, "Oh, I see what you've done there. Oh, I want to get everything on heavyweight vinyl and see you in an intimate show with that kind of wanker."
100%.
And then you actually listen
that
to
kind
it,
of
and
wanker.
you're like, "Nah, this is great." Whether or not you like the genre, whether or not you like the vibe, normally it's so well done. And the people, and you see, you go to a festival set, and the crowd is such a mad mix of people. I think it's just so interesting to see. And again, like I was saying about Bree Runway, I absolutely love, just from a purely selfish point of view, I just love that she is British. I just love that something this critically acclaimed, and not just within England or within Britain or Europe, like can tour worldwide, is up there with the best of them. What was she dating Robert Pattinson? How do you even meet Robert Pattinson? I mean, that doesn't define her as an artist, but it shows how big you are that you're just casually hanging out at a party and Robert Pattinson's there. Hi, yeah, I'm cooler than you because I'm FKA Twigs. So I think she's so odd in the way that I think normally that brand of critical darling sort of act I don't get on with at all. But I think FKA Twigs is great.
Yeah.
What I think don't really like about FKA Twigs is...
Here we go.
So I did some research before this. I thought I'll have a look. Right.
This sounds like a bad avenue, but
go on. Have a look. Right. So she was known as Twigs. Yeah, you're aware of this.
Twigs.
Right?
Yeah. So what her name was Twigs, as in I'm an artist called Twigs.
Yes, because apparently her bones cracked when she stretched or something. Okay. She used to be a backup dancer, a backing dancer for some acts.
Okay.
It's on Wikipedia,
Twigs,
Jamie. Have a look.
Have a look. Search.
And then the Twigs got in touch and said, "Oi, that's our name." And she said, "Okay, well, I'll change my name to FKA Twigs." Right? What would you think FKA traditionally stands for, Jamie?
Well, isn't it formerly known as? That's the main thing,
right?
isn't it?
Yeah, so it's quite clever, isn't it? It's like the artist formerly known as Prince, isn't it? It's like FKA Twigs.
I mean,
she's kind of consciously making that link, and also
that's what it's called.
It's a cool name, but it also she hasn't really changed her name, so it's funny in that sense. It works all round. In an interview, someone said that to her, and she said, "Oh no, FKA doesn't stand for formerly known as. I just thought it was a fun set of letters, quite strong set of letters to use." No, I'm sorry, but FKA does mean formerly known as. So
do you reckon Twigs is like? Do you reckon she's like covering up her legal boundaries at this point? No, I reckon that's what it sounds like.
But to me, it's
she's
like
no, it's just a fun letter,
So my name's Jake Hawkes, right? So if I was called Twigs and I changed
just
it
in
to
case
JH,
anyone didn't know that, by the way,
and
Jake's name is Jake Hawkes.
I changed it to JH Twigs, right? And someone said, "Oh, JH like your initials," and I said, "Oh no, not actually that, although it is similar." That's fine, but FKA just does mean formerly known as.
That is actually the thing, isn't it?
It's like changing your name to like LOL Twigs and being like, "Oh no, not like lots of love or laugh out loud." No, it's just some letters.
Or BRB Twigs. It's like, oh no, it doesn't mean be right back. Or OMG Twigs. Oh, it doesn't mean oh my god.
I'm not having it. So that is, I think, the one chink in her armour, the impenetrable armour of my enjoyment is that particular thing. I'm just like, come on, no, I'm not having it.
I'm not having it. But if that's the only chink, that's a good point, isn't it? I mean, like, I think it could have been very easy to dismiss FKA Twigs as one of those, like, the critics love her. They do their own thing, and just completely clear of that. And I think it could be very easy to do that. But I think what stands her out is that the level of detail that she puts into everything she does is just incredible. like those recent shows that she did, obviously off the last album. I remember like talking to like mates who'd gone to the shows and was like, "Oh, well, how was that show? Like, what was it?" And they were just like, genuinely, it was one of the best shows they've seen of that year, maybe of like the past few years, because she knows how she has that level of detail in her mind. Who's like, right, this is who I am as an artist, and this is how I'm going to do this. And I think, like, you know, it's very easy to just dismiss that, but I think it's like just so important that there are artists that are doing that, like the same way that like Bjork would have done that, you know, in terms of like what she was doing. You know, if you look like back, you know, years ago, and that was what she was doing, like that was really important.
Yeah, I think that's definitely the case. But I also think there's, I mean, something to be said for she doesn't fit neatly into any one genre, right? And she uses that in that. I think with that, her shows are almost, I would say, closer to a huge theatrical pop show in that level of detail, even though she's not doing the 1975 vibe, that kind of huge thing.
Yeah. If you
it's
think
the
of a
same
big pop
thing,
show,
and I think it's not so much. I mean, it is. Yeah, like you say, Bjork is a good comparison, but I think there's also comparisons to be made with pop stars, and like even like Katy Perry coming out and doing some mad stage show, and everything having to be meticulously planned. It's the same sort of backing to it, even if it's not the same result. And I think because she's not nestled in comfortably into one genre, it's not like she's going like some acts. You know, you're a hip hop act, so you would go on stage and do a hip hop stage show. Your album artwork is going to look like hip hop album artwork. You're going to have some features in there. You're going to do interviews with these magazines. Because she's so impossible to pigeonhole, she's never been forced to make those decisions and she's forced herself to not make those decisions so that she could happily pop up being interviewed on the BBC and then in some high fashion mag and then in some music magazine, and then she could play Village Underground, but she could also play
she can cover
like
across
a huge venue. You know, she could be second from headline at a festival, but she could also play a surprise set in a tiny tent.
Yeah, I was about to say she could probably headline like the likes of Field Day, for example. Like she could do that because she's such an artistic, you know. And this is again, it's very easy to forget. She's only put out 2 albums. Well, there's only 2 albums. Like that's that. Like this isn't an artist who's done like 4 or 5 different albums. This is 2 albums, and her level of detail is like just incredible.
The difference between
it is.
It's 2 albums, which is not 4 or 5. It's 2.
It turns out I can do maths, Jake, and
basic maths.
I just want to let everyone know about that because 1 and 1 equals 4. That's correct. Anyway, FKA Twigs, just an amazing artist, and what is very interesting is what you know is that like everything she does is going to be so like planned out, and I think that was shown with Magdalene. Obviously, the latest album that was out last year, it was like it proved that she planned it so well. It was so well detailed. It was like an incredible album. And like you said, we talked about it earlier. It's probably the one album that I think everyone can agree on is like, yeah, that probably should have been nominated for a Mercury. That probably should have been, because it's an amazing album. Like it's a stunning album, and it also cements her as like an artist who like can just dip into various fields, and it's just interesting. And that's the most important thing. And I think that's kind of the vibe of everyone at Dork is like, be interesting, be different, be willing to push the boundaries, I guess. And that's what she's doing. I think
also, we're all about the bangers, but if you're not making the bangers,
don't get me wrong, we are all about the bangers.
You got to keep the people's interest. That's what I think. There's a difference between a slow song and a boring song. And FKA Twigs may not make high octane bangers most of the time, but there's never a track where you listen to and you go, "No, I wish she'd do something." She's always doing something. There's always something going on.
Yeah, exactly. No, she's an incredible artist and just continues to create. And also, what I love is that it blurs the boundaries of like music and art and fashion and even film. Like she can do whatever she wants.
And it makes us feel much smarter than we are.
Yeah, I feel better for liking FKA Twigs. That's good. Shall we listen to an absolute classic? Shall we listen to
I feel like we've been talking for about 2 weeks about it, so let's listen to something, eh?
Let's listen to something. This is 2 Weeks by FKA Twigs. Wonderful stuff. FKA Twigs, the Hall of Fame. Welcome. Incredible stuff.
I hope the hall's big
Jake,
enough. We've put a lot of people in there.
Yeah, we're having to clear out a bit of room, obviously to keep socially distanced as well. Like we're having to everybody to step a few bits apart.
So,
do we have to stop adding people to the Hall of Fame for a little bit?
I think we'll just knock through the back and build a conservatory.
Yeah, sounds good. We can build a garden, can't we? We can have a little chandelier, a little bit of a fountain. We can have a little bit of a goody, mixture here and there. It's all be good. It's all be fine.
So you want a garden that somehow has a chandelier in it, even though it's a garden, but also a fountain. And then I didn't even hear what that last bit was. That was just a noise.
I don't think you need to hear it. I think that is the moment where we suddenly wrap up shop and head
I think it's about time we put Jamie to bed. He's had a tough one by the sounds of things.
It's been a long one. It
has been a long one. Lots of guests, lots to talk about.
Amazing guests. Thank you. Yeah, thank you to Alfie Templeman. Thank you to Abby. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for listening, I guess.
Thank you, Jamie.
It's been a cool one. Thank you, Jake. I'm gonna probably just whack open the frying pan and cook some hot dogs. So if anyone wants to have some hot dogs, just give me a shout and I can serve you up some. By the time you listen to this, I hope they're not still cooking because they would have been burnt at that point. Probably burnt my house down. I don't need that. I think
it's interesting if you think about a hot dog and you think about everything that goes into a hot dog, and some of that stuff isn't very nice, but it's still necessary. And at the end, you get a beautiful dinner. So remember, if you're having a tough time, it might seem bad now, but it's going to make a lovely hot dog later on. And then you'll be eating a hot dog. So, goodbye.